What is going on, guys? I am LaserBolt and welcome to another No BS review. Today we're going to be taking a look at God of War Ragnarok, one of the most anticipated games of 2022 and a game that is almost kind of predestined to be competing for Game of the Year. But today we're going to be talking about if this game actually is going to meet the hype and what will the critics say about this game. Hence, this being a no BS review, I'm going to give you the score the game got before we go ahead and talk about why we gave it that score and why you might see other videos with a higher score maybe or a lower score. So you're definitely going to want to make sure you stay tuned. God of War Ragnarok got a 85 out of 100. If you want to know why it got 85 and not 90 or less, make sure you watch the rest of the video. So with that being said, let's dive in and take a look at God of War Ragnarok. Now, making this review has been one of the hardest reviews to make due to the fact that I want to make sure that the review is spoiler free. And there are a ton of mechanics in the game that if I tell you what they are, it would spoil it. So I want to keep this review as spoiler free as possible. So much that the gameplay I'm going to be showing are mostly going to be gameplay clips of that you've probably seen before in game trailers, and I'm going to include a couple of segments of gameplay that I have from playing the game that are not going to spoil anything. So that's one of the most difficult things about the game, and the reason why it makes it very difficult is because there are, like I said, some really interesting mechanics in the game that I don't want to spoil for you guys because you definitely are going to want to experience them for yourself. And since this game is one of the most anticipated games, I want you guys to enjoy it when you play it. Now, another reason why making this review is a little bit difficult is because this game has a big fan base and I want to be as unbiased as I possibly can. I love God of War, but I want to make sure that when you go ahead and pick it up, it's going to be worth the $70 you're going to be playing for this game. And it's very difficult to kind of, differentiate for something that I enjoy and I like, and also have a really good unbiased opinion of a game that I love. So with that being said, guys, let's dive in and take a look at the story. And one of the first questions I definitely would want to answer with this review is, do you have to play God of War 2018 to kind of understand exactly what's going on? You kind of do, because the story kind of follows off to God of War. So if this is the first time playing the game, it's a pretty good introduction, but you probably want to get a little bit of backstory or maybe watch some videos on God of War. Basically, the story for God of War Ragnarok starts off while Fimbulwinter is underway, and Kratos and Atreus must journey to the 9 realms. This time around, you are actually going to be able to visit every single one of the realms. This is what makes the game very interesting and very enjoyable, due to the fact that in the previous game, we weren't able to visit the realms. We were only able to know about the realms. This time around, you're going to be able to visit each and every one of them. Now, the reason we're deciding to go on a journey and visit these realms is because we're searching for answers as the Asgardian forces are preparing for a prophetic battle that will end the world. And of course, we're there to prevent that from happening. Now, as you progress to these 9 realms, the enemies are going to be getting harder, the enemies are going to become stronger, and you yourself will also become stronger due to the fact that there is an extensive array of different ways that we're able to level up our gear now in God of War Ragnarok, and we have some brand new weapons at our disposal. Now, the great thing about the game is that not only will you be able to level up, but Atreus will also be able to level up and have some really cool skills. Now, the reason why you want to have these skills activated, your weapons and all this stuff, is because as we progress to these 9 realms, we're going to be challenging on surviving to the fullest, where our lives are going to be in danger and we're going to be tested whether we want to survive or die. Now, speaking about surviving, guys, the game now features a total of 5 different game mode difficulties as opposed to 3 from the previous God of War. So that gives you a ton of replayability in case you want to go through the game one more time with more higher difficult enemies and to test out your builds and gear out. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about the combat. Now, the combat, guys, is very similar to God of War 2018. The only difference is that this time it's actually perfect from the way they intended it to be when they first made God of War. This time, everything not only works well, it is a more redefined system, it enhances your gameplay and also enhances the weapon system as well. This time around, we're going to be having transmog feature, which I know it's not so much about combat system, but it's a nice addition to have, especially if you want to look cool while battling. Now, nothing of the combat system is particularly profounding or game-changing anyway. It just makes it very notable improvement from the previous game. Now, one thing we did notice straight off the bat is the complexity and the variety of combat compared to our previous 2018 God of War. Because the complexity of the combat system this time around allows you to make builds around not only weapons, but also on particular playstyles due to the fact that the skill tree and the weapons with their own unique abilities allow you to kind of primarily focus your build either around a weapon or a particular skill, enhancing your playstyle and your combat overall in general. I would definitely have to say that one of the things that I mostly enjoyed about playing the game is definitely the combat. It feels very fluid, very smooth. I didn't get any sort of like major hiccups or any sort of major frame drops because it just ran very well, very fluid. It's something they already had done really well, and just the ability of being able to push that even further, enhancing the combat system, giving you more different ways of implementing that combat system into your playstyles and builds. Definitely the combat system gets a almost near perfect score in my book. Now let's talk a little bit about gameplay. The gameplay in the game works really well. We did address the combat just a little bit further because I felt like we needed to deep dive into that just a bit. But overall, the game functions and plays very well. I like the fact that you're able to visit, like I said, all the 9 realms. And I love the fact that this is not even including the side quests, because in addition to the side quests, you're able to extend the longevity of the game. You're going to be spending about a good 40 to 50 hours just playing the story, depending on your skill set. Now, if you want to further complete this to almost, full all side quests and all that stuff, you're looking roughly between 50 to 70 hours, which is a pretty good chunk of amount of hours for a game that is not only going to be rewarding as you progress and play, because some of these secret missions and some of these secret bosses are going to reward you some really good gear, and the ability of you being able to have transmog this time around allows you to kind of an incentive to, even though the weapon might not be as great and you probably won't be picking it up in your arsenal, you could always use that weapon skin to be able to enhance the weapon that you really love and favor, or the armor that you really love and favor as well. Another really great addition that we did enjoy about the game is the fact that you're able to carry any suit all the way to its max level. So in the previous game, you weren't able to max level like your level 1 suit. You were having to decide whether you wanted to keep it or change the suit if you like that style. This time around, guys, you're able to get it all the way to max level, regardless if you start with the first suit you actually encounter or you start with the second armor that you encounter and you love it so much and you find that the synergy works well. You're able to keep this all the way to endgame, which is something we really liked about the game. Another great thing about the game, which of course it wouldn't be God of War if we didn't have little puzzles, little mysteries to solve. That is one of the greatest additions about the game. I love the ability of having to transition between, doing a really hard fight and then going into solving a puzzle. So I like the way that works. Now, another great addition that they did into the game, and I kind of should have probably included this in combat, but I feel like it's mostly in gameplay, is the addition of you being able to use your shield this time around and using your shield as an actual weapon. Not only do the weapon get a little bit of change of the way you're actually able to throw the weapon and recall the weapon, but they also got the addition of them being inbound to a specific element. So this gives you a really good fluidity when it comes to gameplay, because not only can you now infuse your weapon with an element that is going to allow you to do a lot of AoE damage, a lot of AoE attacks, and allow you to call in Frost Awakening, a Whiplash, and do all these multiple combos within your gameplay. Now, if you guys recall, in God of War, Kratos only had one particular shield to use. This time around, guys, he's going to have an option of 2 different shields, the Dauntless Shield and the Stonewall Shield. Now, each of them have their own playstyles and different benefits. Now, the Dauntless Shield is going to pretty much designed is to parry, while the Stonewall Shield is more for you to be like a full-on tank, and you just pretty much hold down the shield for, to brace yourself from attacks. Of course, there are more different things that you're able to do with these shields, which makes it a very good addition. It makes the gameplay flow very well from using your weapon, using the shield. So a lot of really good fluidity when it comes to gameplay. Now, of course, there is one more ability or skill that I would love to mention, but I definitely do not want to spoil it for you guys, that Atreus is able to use, and it enhances the gameplay even further. Now, speaking about Atreus, he also has his own weapons, his own skill tree, so it's something you definitely want to take into account when you're playing the game, because, kind of synergize between both of them. But I really wish I could mention this kind of ability that he does, but I don't want to spoil it for you hardcore fans out there. All right, so now I know the question you're probably wondering is like, Laser, this game sounds like a really awesome game. Why did it get an 85? Why did it not get a 90, a 95 like the other outlets are putting out? Well, guys, the reason is because this is a no BS review and I try to keep it as real as I possibly can with you guys. One of the reasons this game did not score higher in our no BS review is because this game is supposedly to be a next-gen title and you're paying $70 for a next-gen title. I have to take that into account when I review games. Unfortunately, other people don't take that into account. The prices of games have gone up. Yes, this game is definitely a really good game. It is not a next-gen game. That is the gripe that I have with the game. This game is a PS4 game that has gotten enhanced to PlayStation 5. Now, I say that from actually playing the game and enjoying the game as well. The thing that they're really not telling you guys is that in order for you guys to access the game at its best potential, to have no frame drops, to have no stuttering, you actually need a 4K monitor with a 2.1 HDMI cable or HDMI output to get the game to function at its full potential. Now, even with it functioning at its true potential, you would have to play the game in 2K to not only get performance, but to also get good FPS. And that's not coming from me. That's actually coming from their post that you guys are seeing here on the screen. In addition to that, one of the developers said that the game was hindered due to the fact that the game had to be developed for the PlayStation 4 as well. Now, I could pretty much shove all of this under the rug and be like, okay, well, maybe, if people have a really good monitor, people have a really good, system, they should be okay with it. But the reason why I couldn't give this game even a higher review score is because this game is basically God of War 1.5. It does not push the agenda. It does not move anything further. The only thing it does, it improves a formula, makes it better. If you kind of think about this game in particular, it's mostly more like a really massive expansion of God of War with enhanced combat system, enhanced weapon customization, enhanced transmog, and the ability of visiting the whole 9 different realms with a mix of multiple bosses found within the game. The game to me personally feels like a PlayStation 4 game more than it does a PlayStation 5, and that is the reason I cannot push the needle over 9. Now, I'm pretty sure that whenever you get the game or you probably watch another review, you're going to hear like almost perfect scores, and no one's going to tell you that you actually need a better monitor or you need a better TV to get the best performance out of game. That's what we're the no BS review. We keep it as simple as possibly as we can, and we try to give you guys the facts, not just theories. Now, is the game good? Yes. Should you probably play the game? Probably. Now, is the game a next-gen title? No, it's not. And unfortunately, that's why we got to give it an 85 out of 100. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed our review. If you did, guys, do me a huge favor, guys. Drop a comment, drop a like. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel, turn on all your notifications. Do consider sharing this review because that does help us out a lot. And if you guys would like to see more God of War coverage, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.